My friends, China is said to have attempted to create two fresh security threats for India recently. Number one is on Himachal Uttarakhand frontier along with China. To counter it, India has deployed additional 10,000 troops over there. And the second one is in the Indian Ocean at Malé, where China has signed a military pact with Maldives to have a military base in their capital at Malé. And to counter it, India has established an additional naval command in Lakshadweep. Lakshadweep and Maldives, you are aware, very close to each other in the water, in maritime, hardly 400 to 500 kilometers away from each other. Anyway, India is fully aware of Chinese ambitions, strategic ambitions. What is their ambition? Ambition is to capture 5 Himalayan states. Number one is Tibet, Sikkim, Nepal, Bhutan and Ladakh. As regards Tibet is concerned, already merged with China, and Sikkim merged with India. Only 3 remaining are there. But in the meanwhile, China has added 2 more in the list of 5 in place of Tibet and Sikkim. Number one is Maldives, number 2 is Sri Lanka, which was not earlier there. Anyway, what is Chinese planning to carry out their ambitions? The planning is very clear. They have done the homework. Number one is deployed heavy military force on surface border of India almost since last 3 to 4 years in Ladakh and everywhere. Number 2, China is already getting military base in Malé to take over Maldives or whatever you call it in future. Number 3, Hambantota port. This port is of Sri Lanka. China has already got it on lease for 99 years. So this is the homework China has made it. So the question arises, what it means? It means 2 things. First one is, China is continued with cyber warfare with India. There is no doubt on that. Not discontinued, continued. And India is also fully and militarily prepared to counter it. What it means, military preparedness? Military preparedness means is that India is a professional army and China is mere a People's Liberation Army, PLA, is a red guard of Communist Party. Is a like in India, the paramilitary force being used in the domestic purpose, not on the border. This fact must be known to us. Number 2 aspect is, India has fought as many as 4 wars and won them. 4 wars and won them since 1950. What experience they have? They have one experience, that too in the crisis in Korea in 1950s. And that too under the command of Soviet Union, that was not independent participations. This is what they have the experience. No other experience they have. Not only they are fighting cyber warfare with India, cyber warfare is a kind of political pressure. They are not fighting cyber warfare against India, but they are fighting this kind of war with all its 21 neighbors. And you know, China has maximum number of neighbors in the world. There are 21 countries, including Russia. They are fighting only cyber warfare with them, not actual warfare, that you must know it. So this is the fact behind us. So, one fact is clear, that China is fully aware of that India is not a Ukraine or Gaza. And China is also not Russia or Israel. This fact is known to them. So they cannot take India for granted. Recently, our defense minister has said that India will give befitting, suitable reply to China if at all they dare to attempt a war for India. Anyway, in view of all such facts, China cannot compete against India if at all, as I said, if at all they prefer to have a war in India, actual warfare with India. So, India is not heading to lose either its own territory or the neighborhood to China. This is a fact. China is also aware of. We are also fully confident. China is a potential threat for India, but not only because of border dispute, but because of strategic, economic and geopolitical rivalry. There is a cold war between the two, at least now in the region, and might be in future at the global level. Therefore, China is not only showing anger eyes on India in the border, but also in the neighborhood, also at the world level. China is encircling India in the neighborhood. On the other hand, China is hugging India's neighbors to attract them. China wants to get India locked within the South Asia. China also wants to give only limited option to India here in the South Asia. And China also making all efforts to ensure that India to lose her own territory as well as entire her neighborhood to China. To make this ambition, China is trying to have some policies. What are those policies? First policy, what China is doing for the neighbor is the debt trap, give money and take over the control of their territory. Number two is military support they are giving to some of the neighbors of India, financial support, diplomatic support they are giving. Also to offer territorial exchange, at least with Bhutan, Belt and Road, a source of infrastructure and development of infrastructure as a whole, whether it's a road or bridge or airport, railway, everything. So this is attraction being given to the small countries, the neighbors of India, so that they can come into their clutch. This is their policies. So the objective of this policy, objectives of Chinese this policy is to ensure that India to give its territory to China. India to lose territory and neighborhood to China. This is the basic purpose. One fact remains, India should accept it, that today India is a weak India in the neighborhood. Not a single neighbor is listening to India today, but all of them listening to China. This is a fact. However, China is not only responsible for getting India weakened in the neighborhood. Some other factors too are responsible. What are that? US withdrawal from Afghanistan and Pakistan and whole of South Asia. So vacuum created, and the vacuum is filled in by China. So this situation is disadvantageous for India. This is a fact. Then another one is culture and the history of India as well as of the neighbor was a major factor to get all of them together, to bound all of them, to get bound together, all of them for centuries. But no culture, no common history is enough to go together with all of them. They don't want to listen to culture only. They want to listen money with the China. India's normative behavior policy, big brotherhood policies approach to the neighbor is not any longer welcomed by them. Chinese rise, in fact, has offered an alternative choice to India's neighbors. Now they can use Chinese card to assert their strategic autonomy. Now about analysis, a few lines. 21 rounds of army level talks have already been done, but no positive result. What it means? The next one is India follows policy of neighborhood first. But the perception is coming widely that instead of neighborhood first, the neighborhood is lost. It seems like that. Yet, it's not too late. India has still the time to recover it. India is already managing two faces of China. One China on the border, other China is one of the bilateral trade partner in the world. second one only after USA. So if India can manage China on the border in one hand and also on trade on the other hand, then why India cannot manage her own neighbors? India can do it, that one also. So, one thing is proved, that India has enough potential both during peace or during war. This is a fact. This is the end of my video. Now I am thanking to all of you.